Hey, welcome to September 2024. Okay, there's a lot of things happening this month numerologically. Interestingly, though, we're only dealing with two numbers. We're dealing with nine. September represents nine. And this year, in the global cycle of eight, we've got a double eight. So we've got nine and we've got eight. It's a bit of a complex month, however, because we've got equinox energies coming in. We've got post shadow mercury retrograde, which it went direct end of August, but we'll be in post shadow most of September, which actually blends again very nicely with number nine. So the actual mercury retrograde blended well in August with the number seven, and this month in September it'll blend really well with number nine, which we'll talk about in a second. So let's talk about first the number nine vibration and then how that relates to the eight. The other thing before we get into that, this also is a month that highlights whatever your personal cycle theme is. And if you don't know what that theme is, you can check back out in my blogs at catherinemarshall.com. And February blog of 2024 goes through how to find your personal theme and then what the essence of those themes potentially will be for you. So this September month always highlights everybody's personal theme. So whatever your personal themes have been throughout the year, this gets illuminated, highlighted, and it's a great time to also integrate some of the themes, some of the opportunities we've had with this number, growth opportunities, healing opportunities, or learning opportunities. And so this month we'll highlight that. So just take maybe a review back since January and just kind of ask yourself, what's been the theme for me this year? It'll be highlighted this year. And it's an opportunity just to really, again, anchor it, integrate it, embody it, or have new awareness around it. We're not quite done with the theme, but in October, things will start to shift a bit, which I'll get into in October. Just this month is a really potent, powerful month because it will illuminate our themes. So it's just a great, great month to just kind of utilize on that. And with the eight, we've got a little bit more oomph with it too, because the eight brings in a lot of energy. It brings in just like a real windy day is kind of like the analogy of the eight. So with the eight energy behind us this month, it's also a great month to just really just bring into action anything that we've been learning about or planting seeds to then eventually propel into action down the road. So eight represents consciousness in action, and that's how that can unite with your personal theme as well. And nine represents, so number nine vibration represents a lot of things, and one of them is completion or letting go. So again, it could be, reviewing your personal cycle and asking, now that I have this awareness, or now that I've had these experiences, or now that I have this understanding, is there something I need to let go of? It could be just an old version of ourselves. It could be, certain actual things in our life, or it could be, most importantly, things within ourselves, beliefs, patterns, that are no longer serving or that are keeping us from evolving into the next level of consciousness or of healing that whatever our theme is bringing forth, giving us that opportunity. So the nine also is a very sacred number. It's the divine feminine energy. And so therefore it represents love, and it represents calm, because it's asking us to get really still and calm so that we can go within and hear our intuition. It's the highest expression of intuition. And it's also referred to as the Adi Shakti, which is the feminine energy in action. It's the creative energy in action. And so this is a beautiful month to also be creatively, kind of expressive in that way. But it's also really inviting us to go within and be really still and calm to hear our soul's voice, our intuition, or just to connect more to the sacred, connect more to the unseen. So nine represents the subtle. It's the world or the energies, the nuances that usually to most people's eyes unseen. So it's kind of piercing some of those veils and starting to see beyond, kind of our everyday senses that we're paying attention to. Nine is a very still number. So this is going to be interesting because we've got two really opposite, in a sense, energies this month. We've got this, powerful windy energy of the 8, and then we've got this kind of calm, still, and cleaning up energy of the 9. So keep that in mind. There's just, definitely some interesting currents going to be flowing around this month. So breath, combining, going into stillness and utilizing your breath is an amazing way to start to harness both of them and to work with both of them and help to unify both of them. And the 9 is the humanitarian number. And this is where it's interesting with the 8. So we've had 8 as a global theme, and 8 represents abundance, prosperity, healing, money, and it represents power. Most importantly is kind of the theme that's really been showing up a lot. And that's going to be really potentially, again, peaking this month. And where the 9 comes in is the 9 asks us, 9 represents empathy, and it's the humanitarian number. So it's asking us to start to have more potential empathy towards our human fellow beings and everybody that we're, sharing space with on this planet. Because true empowerment means we can't come into true empowerment and we can't create change, ultimate real change that we're looking for to enter into this new consciousness until we've established some type of balance. And I think that's what's interesting about the 9 and 8. I think it's giving us an opportunity to practice finding that balance between two different energies. And also it's asking us to look at where we need to still be empowered. That's going to be illuminated. And also recognize that we cannot be empowered fully if we disempower someone or something else in order for us to maintain power. Is that really power anyway, right? Going into new consciousness is really about heart-centered empowerment. And that's where the 9 comes in, because the 9 is asking us, do we need to start to become more aware and acknowledging the suffering that's happening on the planet, the atrocities potentially that are happening to other beings, with the wars that are going on, or with, so many things that are happening that sometimes is in our own backyard, neighborhood, and definitely what's happening collectively and globally. So, I think there's going to be a lot of different layers potentially coming up. We'll definitely see, within our own individual process being asked, where are we not empowered? Where do we need to bring ourselves more into our heart-centeredness, coming into compassion? That's the 8. And then being able to have empathy and acknowledge. It doesn't necessarily mean we'll have the answers or solutions to start to stand up and make a difference or make change yet, but it means that, we potentially cannot stand into our full power in this wider collective way until we've been able to acknowledge that there actually is inequality or imbalance and suffering that's happening on the planet. So it could be just starting to be either aware if we're not aware, haven't been wanting to be aware, and that doesn't mean immerse ourselves into it if you feel that's not of resonance to you and that wouldn't create a good vibe for yourself personally, and you know what you would need. It just could be just, we're starting to really acknowledge and give a name to it, or just, again, that can be just very internally. It doesn't mean we want to start to again go out and create any conflict about it. There's already enough of that. We want to start to generate more compassion and more empathy, and sometimes that empathy can't kind of land for us until we have that acknowledgement or that acceptance that it's actually taking place. So again, the invitation with that 9 energy is it's asking us to just come in and just be really quiet and really still. And that could sometimes really help us. Well, it can connect us to our soul, but also it'll help us to remember why we're here. Why are we here on this planet at this time, in this incarnation, with all of the things that are happening? And is there something that, I can be just connected more with? That could be just connected more with love. That matters. That creates such an impact for the whole, for the collective. And it also could be, I'm starting to feel really inspired to make a difference somehow in some way. I don't even know how that is, but I just know that I care. And I know that I want to see a better world, or I want to see, better choices being made for the betterment of all beings, or for the collective, or for, the environment, or for the world, for whatever we're called personally to do. So again, the 9 and 8 are going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting month. So again, invitation is you utilize your breath. Breath is always going to be the biggest thing. The 9 too represents with the 8. Just one more thing around that is 9 does represent completion, and so it'll be interesting to see if some structures start to see change. We're going to be having some evolution happening as we go into the new paradigm. So again, it represents financial healing. So again, some of these structures that we've known that have been based in the old paradigm, old consciousness, either need to be evolved up into the new consciousness, or they will be completely, dissipated in order to will begin again. And this is going to be a long time in a process of creating that. But this month could be highlighting. So it could be awakening more people. We're going to be going into a really big kind of collective awakening. And that could be where the 9 is too. The 9 starting to recognize like, wow, there's a lot more happening here. And how is that impacting me as a person? Because not only just collectively, but there's a connection. We are not separate from anything that's going on to our brothers and sisters and collectively. So it'll be an interesting month. So the invitation is navigate through this month. I would do a lot of journaling if that resonates, or just kind of going into nature, quiet time, really grounding, again, the breath. But quiet time, because quiet time and journaling, or whatever is kind of your thing, like whatever you feel you can get clear on in your own inner sense, inner kind of like hear your own heartbeat, so that you can kind of have a sense of where you're being guided to. But again, hearing your own heartbeat, so that no matter what's going on, you can come back into your own sense of center, because we can't be empowered first and foremost if we're not in our own center, in our own heart. So it could be just integrating into our own personal power first and foremost, so that we can then go and step into or be that instrument or beacon of empowerment, light, love for others. Okay, so we have the equinox as well. And then just one more thing to mention, if you are following your personal cycle, then this month, September 22nd at 6 p.m., yes, that's technical, means that if you're in a 10-1 cycle, you'll be starting your 1 cycle. So you're completing that whole previous 10-year cycle is going to be done at September 22nd, 6 p.m. At 6:01 p.m., you begin a whole brand new 10-year cycle. You begin a whole brand new cycle, which is the one which you'll be, now into the cycle of new beginnings, planting seeds, and this could be really subtle and not so subtle sometimes. I've definitely seen both. So not having expectation or attachment to how it's going to look or anything. It is definitely a different vibe, that you're going to have a new wind at your back. You're going to have so much more just, inspiration potentially of ideas coming in of what you want. And so this last leg of this month, and I feel like this could be beneficial for all of us, no matter what our cycle is, but definitely you're in that 10 completion cycle, ready to go into the 1 cycle, September 22nd. Finally asking yourself, is there anything I don't want to bring forward with me into this next cycle? And not pressuring, the soul's guiding it. So whatever is meant to be released will, but just really asking consciously, this is the fun thing, we can do it consciously. Is there anything I want to release that I do not want to bring forth with me into this next cycle? So at this point, where do I need to let go of? So what do I want? And then what do I need to do to let go of, so that I can have what I want or get into an alignment of what I want? And sometimes it's about having the courage to do that. And you'll kind of know in your own way what that means. All right. So have a really beautiful month. And just remember, the 9 energy, it's very, very sacred energy. It's very beautiful energy. It's the energy of grace. It's the energy of refinement. It's the energy of sophistication. It's just this beautiful, very refined, creative, gentle, but also fierce energy too. It is it's the Adi Shakti. So wishing you a beautiful month, and may you be blessed in your heart, and may you let your heart guide you through this whole month, and may your path be illuminated with light. Namaste.